Spain is not just a land of sunshine, music, and delicious food. It is also one of the most powerful guardians of Catholic tradition in the entire world. For more than 1,000 years, faith has been shaping the mountains, cities, and even the identity of this nation. Faith is not something you simply read about in history books. It is carved into the stones of cathedrals, whispered through the quiet halls of monasteries, and celebrated in vibrant processions that bring whole cities to life. To walk through Spain's sacred sites is to step into a living story. A story where saints preached, miracles happened, and entire generations found their hope in Christ. In this journey, we will uncover the 10 best Catholic sites in Spain. You must visit places chosen, not just for their beauty, but for their unmatched spiritual power, their history, and their ability to move the human heart. From the tomb of an apostle to the miracle of an unbroken pillar, from mountains echoing with prayer to cathedrals that defy time. Each destination is a gateway into the mystery of faith. So before we begin, let me ask you, which of these holy places do you dream of visiting? First, share it in the comments, and let's start this pilgrimage together. Number 1. Santiago de Compostela Cathedral, the beating heart of pilgrimage. Our first stop takes us to the most famous Catholic site in Spain, the Cathedral of Santiago de Compostela in Galicia. For more than 1,000 years, this cathedral has been the final destination for countless pilgrims walking the Camino de Santiago, the Way of St. James. Why do they come here? Because within these sacred walls lies the tomb of St. James the Apostle, the patron saint of Spain. Tradition says that after St. James was martyred in Jerusalem, his followers carried his body by boat to Spain, and his tomb was hidden for centuries. In the 9th century, it was rediscovered, and since then, pilgrims have been coming here from all over Europe and the world. The cathedral itself is breathtaking. Began as a Romanesque church in the 11th century, grew with Gothic additions, and was crowned with a Baroque facade that makes it one of the most stunning cathedrals in the world. Step inside and you will see the portico of glory, carved with over 200 figures that seem to welcome every pilgrim with joy. On feast days, a massive silver censer swings across the church, spreading incense through the air like the prayers of millions rising to heaven. Every year, more than 350,000 pilgrims arrive here, some limping, some in tears, all with hearts full of joy as they finally kneel before the tomb of the Apostle. To stand in this cathedral is to feel the beating heart of Catholic Spain, a place where history, legend, and living faith meet in one powerful experience. Number 2. Basilica of Our Lady of the Pillar. Zaragoza, the first Marian shrine, rising. Above the banks of the Ebro River in Zaragoza stands the Basilica of Our Lady of the Pillar. Regarded as the world's first church dedicated to the Blessed Virgin Mary, according to tradition, in 40 AD, while still alive in Jerusalem. Mary appeared miraculously to St. James the Apostle in Spain. She stood upon a pillar of jasper, offering him encouragement in his missionary struggles. That very pillar, preserved and enshrined within the basilica, remains the heart of devotion for countless pilgrims. The present basilica, built between the 17th and 18th centuries, is a magnificent Baroque masterpiece. Its 11 domes and soaring towers dominate Zaragoza's skyline, yet inside the atmosphere is strikingly personal. Pilgrims line up to touch the small exposed section of the jasper pillar behind the high altar, linking their prayers with centuries of devotion. Above the pillar stands a modest wooden statue of Mary, clothed in embroidered robes that are changed daily, a tender reminder of her ongoing maternal care. Basilica's history is also marked by extraordinary signs. During the Spanish Civil War, 1936 to 1939, 3 bombs were dropped directly onto the church, but none of them exploded. To this day, the unexploded shells are displayed inside a dramatic witness to the Virgin's protection. This miracle, combined with centuries of devotion, has made the Basilica not only a Marian site, but also a symbol of hope and resilience for Spain. Every year on October 12th, Zaragoza bursts into color and prayer during the Feast of Our Lady of the Pillar, a day blending Catholic devotion with Spanish national pride. Thousands of flowers are offered, processions fill the streets, and prayers rise unceasingly to the Virgin. Visiting the Basilica of Our Lady of the Pillar is more than admiring its architecture. It is about entering into a living tradition of Marian faith that has endured for almost 2,000 years. Number 3. Montserrat Monastery, where heaven meets the mountains. High in the rugged mountains of Catalonia lies Montserrat Monastery, a place where faith and nature blend in perfect harmony. Since the 11th century, this Benedictine monastery has been home to the statue of Our Lady of Montserrat, also called the Black Madonna. Her darkened features have inspired devotion for centuries, and countless pilgrims have come to pray before her. Many believe she is miraculous, and people still leave tokens of gratitude at her shrine. The journey to Montserrat feels like a pilgrimage itself. You can take winding roads, cable cars, or funiculars up the cliffs, each turn revealing views more stunning than the last. Inside the basilica, the atmosphere is one of reverence and peace. One of the most special experiences is listening to the boys' choir, one of the oldest in Europe, whose angelic voices fill the air with prayer. Montserrat is not only about worship. It is also a place of culture. Its museum holds works of art by great masters like El Greco and Dali. Outside, trails lead to hermitages hidden among the cliffs, where silence and nature become a natural. Montserrat is a reminder that faith is not only about buildings, but about finding God in creation itself. Number 4. Seville Cathedral in La Giralda, a Gothic giant of faith. In the heart of Andalusia rises Seville Cathedral, the largest Gothic cathedral in the world, and one of the crowning achievements of Catholic Spain. Construction began in 1401 on the foundations of a former mosque, driven by the bold ambition to create a church so magnificent that, in the words of its planners, those who see it will think we were mad. Inside the cathedral seems almost endless. Its soaring vaults, sheltering chapels, altars, and sacred art. The high altar sheathed in gilded wood stands as the largest altarpiece ever made, depicting nearly every stage of Christ's life in dazzling detail. Around the cathedral, chapels glow with masterpieces by Spanish painters, while the tomb of Christopher Columbus ties the sacred space not only to Spain's devotion, but also to its global history. Beside the cathedral stands the Giralda Tower. Once a minaret, and now an emblem of Seville, ramps are built wide enough for horsemen to lead visitors to. Panoramic views of the city's whitewashed streets and orange-scented courtyards. What makes Seville Cathedral especially alive is its role during Santa Holy Week. Each spring, the city transforms into one of the world's most powerful expressions of Catholic devotion. Processions of penitents move through the streets, carrying massive floats of Christ and the Virgin Mary, many of which enter the cathedral itself in solemn silence. To witness Holy Week here is to see the Catholic faith embodied in tradition, art, and community. Number 5. Avila. In the footsteps of St. Teresa, our next destination is the city of Avila, forever linked with St. Teresa of Avila, one of the greatest Catholic mystics. Born here in 1515, Teresa's writings on prayer and union with God remain cornerstones of Catholic spirituality. The most sacred spot here is the convent of St. Teresa, built over her family home. Inside are relics, including her incorrupt heart and arm, powerful reminders of her deep love for Christ. The Monastery of the Incarnation, where Teresa lived and experienced mystical visions, also stands here, inviting pilgrims to step into the silence where she prayed. But Avila itself feels like a fortress of faith. Its medieval walls, stretching over 2.5 kilometers with 88 towers, are among the best preserved in Europe. Rising from these walls is the Gothic cathedral, part church and part fortress, symbolizing how faith was the true strength of the city. Walking through Avila, you feel the presence of St. Teresa everywhere, as if her call to deeper prayer still echoes in the stones. Number 6. Toledo Cathedral, the primatial cathedral of Spain. If Santiago de Compostela is the pilgrim's goal, then Toledo Cathedral is the heart of Catholic authority in Spain. Known as the primatial cathedral, it was meant to embody Spain's spiritual primacy. Built over 2 centuries, starting in 1226, it is one of the most magnificent Gothic cathedrals in Europe. Inside, the high altar glitters with scenes from Christ's life, while a skylight called the Transparent floods the sanctuary with heavenly light. Paintings by El Greco, who lived in Toledo, add mystical beauty to the cathedral. Its greatest treasures is the golden monstrance, weighing over 180 kilos, carried each year in a grand Corpus Christi procession that transforms the city into a festival of faith. Toledo Cathedral is not just a monument, it is a place where worship, art, and authority come together in one unforgettable expression of Catholic devotion. Number 7. Sagrada Familia, Faith in Stone. In Barcelona stands one of the most unique churches in the world, the Basilica of the Sagrada Familia. Designed by the visionary architect Antoni Gaudí, construction began in 1882 and continues. To this day, Gaudí devoted his life to this church, seeing it as his offering to God. Every detail is full of symbolism. The Nativity Faccati bursts with life and joy, while the Passion Faccati is stark and somber, telling the story of Christ's suffering. Inside, light pours through stained glass windows in brilliant colors, filling the space like a forest of prayer. When completed, the basilica will have 18 towers, the tallest rising higher than any other church in the world. Gaudí, now a candidate for sainthood, rests in the crypt below. Millions come each year not only to admire its beauty, but to experience a prayer in stone and light. The Sagrada Familia is a living catechism, proving that faith still inspires creations of eternal beauty, even in modern times. Number 8. Covadonga Sanctuary Historias, Cradle of a Nation's Faith. Tucked deep within the rugged Picos de Europa mountains lies the Sanctuary of Our Lady of Covadonga, site where Catholic devotion and Spanish history are inseparably intertwined. In the year 722, Christian leader Don Pelayo won a pivotal victory over Moorish forces here, an event regarded as the spark that ignited the centuries-long Reconquista. Tradition holds that the Virgin Mary, venerated as Our Lady of Covadonga, interceded in that triumph. And so this sacred place earned the title the Cradle of Spain. The sanctuary setting is breathtaking. A chapel carved directly into a cave overlooks a cascading waterfall. Its atmosphere is serene yet powerful. Inside rests a statue of the Virgin that continues to draw pilgrims, who climb the stone steps with prayers of thanksgiving and petitions for grace. Just above the 19th century Neo-Roman basilica, it's constructed of striking red limestone, rises boldly against the lush mountain backdrop, a vision of beauty where nature and faith meet in harmony. Covadonga has long been more than a shrine. It is a national symbol of hope, resilience, and renewal. Generations of Spanish families have brought their children here to be consecrated to Mary, passing down a living tradition that ties Catholic faith directly to cultural identity. Today, visitors find in Covadonga not only a holy site of prayer, but also an encounter with creation itself, soaring peaks, flowing waters, and silence that invites the soul to listen. It is both a spiritual destination and a reminder that faith can shape the destiny of a people. Number 9. El Escorial, a palace and monastery of power and prayer. Just outside Madrid stands El Escorial, one of the largest and most impressive Catholic complexes in the world. It's built in the 16th century by King Philip II. It combines a monastery, palace, basilica, royal mausoleum, and library all in one. Its design is simple and austere, reflecting the king's devotion and discipline. Inside, the basilica rises with solemn grandeur, and the royal pantheon holds the remains of nearly every Spanish monarch since Charles V. The library contains thousands of ancient manuscripts and Bibles, showing the Catholic mission of preserving knowledge. El Escorial was not just a royal residence. It was meant to be a fortress of faith, where monks prayed constantly for the king's soul and for the Catholic empire he ruled. Even today, it stands as a reminder that true greatness flows, not from power, but from devotion to God. Number 10. Burgos Cathedral, a Gothic jewel of the north. Our journey concludes in northern Spain with Burgos Cathedral, one of the finest Gothic cathedrals in Europe and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Construction began in 1221 under King Ferdinand III, drawing inspiration from the soaring cathedrals of France, yet over the centuries, it developed a distinctly Spanish character. The cathedral's twin spires dominate the skyline of Burgos, their lace-like tracery, a marvel of medieval stonework. Inside, sunlight filters through to some of Spain's most exquisite stained glass, casting vibrant colors across chapels adorned with Renaissance and Baroque altarpieces. The celebrated golden staircase built by Diego Diloé in the 16th century is itself a masterpiece, an elegant spiral of marble and iron that seems to flow upward with grace. Burgos is not only an architectural triumph, but also a place where faith and history converge. Within its walls rests the tomb of El Cid, the legendary knight of the Reconquista, whose life story has become inseparable from Spain's cultural and Catholic identity. His burial here makes the cathedral both a sanctuary of devotion and a symbol of national pride. For countless pilgrims walking the Camino de Santiago, Burgos has been a vital stop for nearly 800 years, a place to pause, pray, and gather strength before continuing towards Santiago de Compostela. Standing within this cathedral, one cannot help but feel how faith, carved in stone, light, and music, can lift the soul toward God from the pilgrims' embrace at Santiago de Compostela to the miraculous pillar in Zaragoza. The mountain majesty of Montserrat, the grandeur of Seville, the mysticism of Avila, and the Gothic splendor of Toledo and Burgos, Spain, reveals itself as a land where Catholic faith is written to the very fabric of its cities and landscapes. These are not simply monuments. They are living sanctuaries where centuries of prayer continue to echo. To visit them is to step into a story that unites history, art, and devotion. Story still unfolding for every pilgrim and traveler today. Keep walking with us. Subscribe so you never miss the chance to discover the church's most inspiring